story. I don't think I can add anything. But I can tell the people behind the Zehenia's crimes, these illegalities, that you may break our bodies, you may injure our mind and soul, but you will not shake the spirit of this revolution. I will take the questions now. Njagala kwebaza muganda wange Achileo olw'okulambulula okufuna obuvumu n'alambulula ensonga kikwasa ennaku nti tuli mu ggwanga Uganda. Ekisinga okwasa ennaku nti olina n'okuwaayo obudde onyonyola ebikolererwako, kubanga abantu abalala balowooza nti tuli mu kusaagwa, naye nga kakasa nemba bwe bannamawulire ababadde wano mulabe first hand pain gyetuyitamu nga bannaffe bawambiddwa, pain gyetuyitamu nga bannaffe, kubanga eryokuba nti omuntu gwe bawambye tomumanyi tomuwulirangako, eryokuba nti wabisomako busomi nga bwe twali twabisomako, many of you are young people abali wano, mpozi mama waffe nabusibawo yayinza okuba yali yabirabako, naye okuba nti omuntu gw'omanyi gw'owangala naye bwe bali mu kutuusaako obufune obufaanana bwe buti okulemaza obulamu bwe bwonna olw'okuwagira omuntu, kuba kiri mu lwatu nti kati amagye bo gavunaana abantu olw'obutawagira General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Ekyo kiba kikyamu era ago tegaba magye. Njakutwala ebibuzo byammwe kulwobudde.
Let's have straight on this issue. Yes, go. Okay. Another question?
Okay, I will do that. Okay. If you trust my English. Another question?
I think that's
no question, because I think it was exhaustive. It was quite exhaustive. So, Comrade Achileo here, his story is very clear. He was abducted on the 1st of August. He drove from the offices here and descended to his home where he had been staying for some good time in Nansana. And earlier in the day, he had been called by one of the workers at a washing bay near his home at a parking lot. And he was informed that there were people on the border that were looking for where he was domiciled in Nansana. He did not speak to them, but he told those people to tell them that they will try to get him another day. For the last 4 months, the party has been receiving intelligence about Achileo, just like we receive intelligence about many of ourselves on the different criminalities that the state is orchestrating upon us. So we had intelligence that there was something criminal that was going to happen to Achileo. We had shared the notes, just like we know about Motive Kasaga and others. And on that fateful day, at around 8:30, as he was at that parking lot seated, he suspects that it was a Noah, brown in color, with men who descended on him, asked him whether he was the one, identified him with a photograph on the phone, and he complied. He later asked them that it would be important if he stays nearby, they should go, and he reports to his family that actually he had been picked by security personnel. After all, that is the protocol. The protocol of arrest is that you must be first given an opportunity to communicate with either your legal person or your family member. Or in places of where an arrest is being carried out outside the mandate of the police in the jurisdiction of where you stay, the persons arresting, the arresting officers, must come with members of the police force of that station, and with clearance up to the chairman. But this was not the case. His plea to inform his people was answered by beatings, by torture, human torture, and he was hit, he was gun battered on his left eye, leaving it in a very, very, very painful but also a very sorry state. He was handcuffed brutally as well, because you know when they are handcuffing, there is a system when they make it tighter. Once they make it tighter, it is extremely, very, very, very painful. It is one of the forms of torture, actually. Arresting a suspect and then taking them through that type of torture is done by such members of the military force. He was, they had socked him, he was put into a head sock, drove around town as he was being beaten, badly beaten. By the time he reached where he was being dumped, he did not know where he was being dumped, but he was, they had identified the head sock. And these head socks, according to him, they are not new. These are head socks that have numbers. Different prisoners have put on the same head socks. And there are those that have been classified that if you are supposed to put on number 3, number 4, that one is for people who will die automatically because of probably the chemicals, the extraordinary, sophisticated murdering styles that they have embedded in those masks. He was, all those days, he has been on handcuffs. He has been putting on a head sock. They had put that head sock on his face. It is very, very, it is hot. It creates a lot of heat to the face. Remember, the eye was sick. He was subjected to no light, no vision of anybody for the 3 years, for the 3 days that he spent at the CMI. He would be transported in those 3 days occasionally between CMI and Chireka SIU, but the constant was that he was on handcuffs. He has narrated to us the ordeal of when they put him in the dungeon at CMI, and he was sleeping in a small room, self-contained, which had the toilet there. I think that is what I'm now calling self-contained, but it could be soaked with water by morning. And it had a pole where he was handcuffed in the movie style and told to sleep. When he complained, they changed the style. He was handcuffed and he could not even eat. Now, sleeping when you are handcuffed is something he has asked all of us to try it out and know exactly what our comrade is saying. The other issue is that in his ordeal, in those 3 days after he had been tortured, he was later taken home. And when he was taken home, of course, you all remember the ordeal that they threw. One of the officers was seen by the neighbor, and now even on account of Achileo, with pips, military pips, and those are the very military pips that later were alleged to be owned by him. They also forced him to change his trouser into a military outfit. And by the time they were coming to do the search, the pain he was going through, the circumstances under which his life was at stake, the torture that his wife was put through when they were mounting the search, all gave them reason, him and the wife, to sign. After all, the world knew that whatever they were doing was an illegality, especially in the state. So in his judgment, he thought that to live another day of life, he would rather condescend with the ambiguity of whatever they had come up with, but then later he would be exonerated by reality and the truth, and of course by the push of the power of the people. He was taken to court, the court-martial, where he found a sigh of relief. For all those days, it was very hard for him to sleep. But after he was taken to the court martial, he found sleep on headway to prison on that lorry that takes prisoners. You can imagine when you can finally find sleep on a lorry as it is descending to another jail, but you are finding relief because you can see, you can communicate to people, you are not on handcuffs, amongst others. And then the story of him coming to court, being brought to the court martial, later on getting bail yesterday and being released. We want to thank our legal team. He thanks the legal team. He thanks the entire National Unity Platform family, members of the diaspora who have not gave up on him. A number of people in the country who are putting on t-shirts inscribed with Achileo. We want to thank you. We want to thank our parents for their continued prayer. We want to thank his family for standing with us. I want to also note on that sometimes they push the families. If you do not have a formidable family, you will find them succumbing to the dictatorship. So we want to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the family of Comrade Achileo. This is not the first time he's being incarcerated. Achileo did not bury his father. That is why even the life of his other family members is important to him. He did not bury his father. I think he even lost an auntie a few days ago. He did not bury. And with our age, we are responsible people in our families. We must be available to many of these sad and happy occasions. He's very grateful to the media, and I want also, as the deputy spokesperson, to thank you, members of the media. We are very, 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 very extremely humbled by your zealousness, by your continued support of our colleagues and all of us, especially when we get into the arms way with the dictatorship. Without you, members of the media, I can tell you our lives will definitely be at stake. It is not easy to report about these heinous crimes. It is, you know, the propaganda. The day they were arresting Achileo, people were saying, you know, we earn. Now, how do I earn from the arrest of my brother? The absurdity of those who connote the same is that they do not know us. They don't know how we relate with each other. We know our families. We know ourselves. We are a family. We are happy and sad together. And then an idiot wakes up in the morning, sometimes even on national TV, after probably eating or not eating food, and tells the world that those people are benefiting from their colleagues being under incarceration. You look at such a muddle-headed person, and you wonder where you can assist him from that type of backward, archaic, and buffoonery thinking, where you wake up and assume that a colleague can be in prison and we are excited about it to earn a living. We are not paupers, and that should come to the mind of those pauper-minded people who speak this, that everything is about earning. We are not paupers. If we are paupers, we would not be in this revolution. In fact, the paupers have found their price. The price now of Achileo is being incarcerated, is being abducted. They cannot even give him a decent arrest if he has an offense. They will come and abduct him with a lot of fear and terror. Now, when you get to those that want to shed that propaganda that will benefit from our brothers, our colleagues, our friends, our comrades in the struggle to liberate us also, then you should leave those people to their mind thinking. They have a challenge, and that challenge should not be our problem. I know that the facility in Tarika is not secure enough Now, some of them are VIPs, they will influence and leave, but they must be at least under some sort of medication. I want to call that